Well, hello, folks, and we're in the next section of the Car Value Scout Used Car Buyer Educational Series. And what I've created for you all is a 20-point anti-lemon checklist. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the checklist in actual phases so you people can ask questions before you even go look at the vehicle. And you might ask them through a text or audio if you get the seller's phone number, but we want to cover this first, and this will save you tons of time, by the way. So let's get going here. The 10 questions to ask. The first question is, what is the title status? And what you want to ask is it a clean title, is it a rebuilt title, or is it a salvage title? Now, you don't have to know what they mean yet. That's covered in another lesson. But here's the most important points about those titles. If it's a clean title, well, that is the best choice, obviously, because that means you have peace of mind and a better value. Now, if it's a rebuilt title, you need to ask questions. Find out what happened and why it was rebuilt. And finally, if it's a salvage title, proceed with extreme caution. Insurance may be extremely hard to get for a car that has a salvage title. So my recommendation personally is if it's a salvage title, you need to walk away, because that car, before you can register it in most states, you have to rebuild it first. So that's not something that this course is about. This course is about buying a good, healthy vehicle at a very reasonable price. Okay, let's move to question number 2. The question is, do you physically have the title? You really need to find out if they physically have that title in their hands. The red flags we need to watch for are they might respond with, I lost it, my friend has it, it's at my bank, or I'll find it later. All those are red flags. When you're going to spend your time to drive and look at somebody's car, you want to make sure they have the proper paperwork. Very simple question, very simple answer. Now, question 3, we're going to do a little bit of probing. What we want to find out is, how long have they owned the vehicle? So the obvious question is, how long have you personally owned this vehicle? Now, if they say they've owned it for quite a few years, whatever, that's great. Okay, but if they give you an answer like less than 2 months, that's a red flag. It doesn't kill the deal, but it typically means they may be somebody that's flipping the car. They may even tell you that that's what they do, that they flip cars, which is okay once again, but it's going to require a little extra scrutiny. So once again, the third question is, how long have you owned the vehicle? And listen for that response. And now we move on to question number 4, which is, why are you selling it? And the answer itself isn't that important, really. You're looking for hesitation. You're looking for somebody who's not sure how to answer that. A good answer, though, might be, I bought another car, or I'm moving, or another answer might be, no longer need it. Those are okay answers. The red flag answer is, and they don't know how to answer it, or it's my brother's car, or I'm selling it for a friend. These are all red flags. These are people that are typically holding an open title and maybe trying to just flip the car. So I'd be very cautious on that. And now we move on to question 5. You ask them if they have maintenance records. And the way you ask that is, you say, do you have any service records, receipts, or maintenance paperwork? A lot of people will actually have a folder. I have bought cars where people keep a folder on their vehicle to track how much money they spent on their vehicle, and I assume they use that for their taxes. But it's a great thing if they have that folder and they actually have records. If they don't have records and they're mechanically inclined, a lot of people will do their own maintenance. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad car, but it's always reassuring if they have maintenance records. Now, here's probably one of the most important questions you can ask. And you may get resistance from this question, but you want to find out if they can send you the VIN number. Now, VIN stands for Vehicle Identification Number, and it's located on every car on the left-hand side of the lower portion of the windshield inside the car. And you can take a picture of it, and that's what I recommend. Have them take a picture of the VIN, okay, with their phone and send you a picture of the VIN number. The reason you ask for a picture is this way nobody makes a mistake and sends you the wrong VIN number that they typed out. And then what you can do from there is you can actually look up the VIN history on the car. And this is so important because it will tell you a lot about the car. And I highly recommend, before you look at a car, let's say they answered all the questions correctly and there's no red flags, you still want to run a VIN history. If you're serious about buying that car, you want to run that VIN history report so you can verify, first of all, the mileage. You can verify if it had any accidents. All these questions you're asking them are going to actually come back at them if they're lying to you through the VIN history report. So that'll help you a lot to isolate problems. And now this is a very simple question, but it's important. You want to ask if there's any liens on the vehicle. And you want to find out if there's a current loan on it, if there's a lien on the vehicle. And once again, the VIN history will show you this unless they have a private party lien. If they say, I still owe money, that's a red flag. If they say, we'll meet at the bank, that's not good. Okay, that means they owe money. Or the title isn't released yet. All that, it's not deal breakers, but all that means is that before you hand over the money, you want to hand over the portion that's owed on that vehicle to the person that's holding the lien. That's critical. So, good information to have. Now comes question 8. Has the vehicle ever been in an accident? Now, even though the VIN history report may show it, you want to ask it anyway. See, you got to remember, we're using what I call a 3-layer method, and this is layer 1 is what the seller says. If you catch them lying to you, for example, then there's not a whole lot of information that they tell you can trust. The VIN history will reveal if the car has been in an accident 90% of the time. So you want to make sure that their answer and the VIN history match. That's why you ask that question. So if it wasn't an accident, you also might want to ask them a sub-question that says, how bad was the accident? Or what part of the car was damaged? And we'll show you in the walk-around video series how to inspect the car and find out if it was in an accident. And now for question 9, you want to find out if there's any warning lights that are currently on. Now, this could be an ABS brake system, or I should say ABS module that's failing, or it could be a check engine light. So you want to ask, is the check engine light or any warning lights currently on? And you'll be amazed at how many people suddenly become evasive. And if they become evasive, once again, that's a red flag. And finally, question 10, and this is a very important one. You want to ask if there's anything that needs immediate repair. Okay, and this is one of my favorite questions. If I bought this vehicle today, what would I need to do immediately? Then you stop talking. Silence is your friend in this question. People will often volunteer information. Often they'll say, well, it needs tires, or it needs brakes, or the air conditioning doesn't work. That's valuable information. That information can help you figure out how much more money you need to spend to make this car something that you want to drive. So here you have the first 10 questions you need to ask the seller before you take the drive to inspect the vehicle or take it for a test ride. On the screen right now, you'll see my scoring system. So if it's 0 to 1 red flags, definitely proceed. If it's 2 to 3 red flags, slow down a little bit. If it's 4+ red flags, I would walk away. Thank you for watching.